Everyone, welcome to the WA board meeting, February 17, 2026. Steve is out this morning, so I'll be standing in for him. And can you please stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Steve Hargraves.
Here.
Tabitha Trent.
Here.
Glenn Snyder.
Here.
John Gilliland here. Steve Nelson. Absent. Jamie Gontia. Here. Gary Mullenhauser.
Here.
Melanie Anderson.
Here.
Who's live and who's memorized?
Jamie Gamatia is voting.
Who's voting?
The voting members, was that the question?
Yeah.
So, voting for, would be Steve Hargraves, Tabitha Trent, John Gilliland, Jamie Gamatia, and Harry Moldenhauer.
Agenda item number 2, agenda additions and deletions.
Mr. Chairman, we had one addition late invoice from Thorn Run Partners that's listed as item 2A. It's their regular monthly invoice for $3,500.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion by Mrs. Trent to approve.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Mullenhauer. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Motion passes.
The next item is number 3. It's a public hearing. We'll need a motion to open the public hearing, please.
So moved. I have a motion by Mr. Mullenhauer. Open it.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hargrave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign.
There you go, sir. Go ahead, you say. Okay, this is a public hearing for updating the rate, FY26 schedule of rates, fees, and charges. Concerning this is the only change proposed is to add the issue of a large master meter user, someone that is using in excess of 250,000 gallons per day. You have seen the presentations over the last several months and selected option 4, which would adjust which would set the monthly base charge and the volumetric charge per ERC behind the master meter, with that agreement, again, that they would be utilizing in excess of 250,000 gallons a day. Everything else within the rate schedule remains unchanged. Would you like us to go through the anything in the board package? Are there questions? In your board, you'll see some examples of what the base charge would go to, the gallonage for both water and wastewater. Why didn't that switch to that? Let me close. I'll just close it. There we go. No. I'm just gonna, I don't know if I should have done that. Anyway, there we go. So here's the base charges for water and wastewater that are proposed under this large user category. Do you want to chime in with anything, or questions? Again, this is just because we are getting to that point where there is going to be a large user for water that will use in excess of the 250,000 gallons. And we kind of went through this before, but I'll just do a brief overview. The rationalization is we as a company would only be reading very few meters, 1, 2, maybe 3 meters. There's 1,400 planned users behind, so we would not be reading those 1,400 meters. We're not going to be maintaining the water distribution system, or we don't even deal with the wastewater system behind the meter. So that's why they were looking, that's why we were looking at this adjustable rate that is going to cover our costs to get the water to the property, to maintain the treatment plants and the infrastructure to get the water to the property, but nothing up on property.
Any comments, public comments? This time we can close the hearing.
Well, if there are any, no comments from the board or questions, okay. Then I need a motion to close the public hearing, please.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Mrs. Trent, close the hearing. Nice. Second. I have a second by Mr. Mullenhauser. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Motion passes.
So in your board package is Resolution 2601. So it would be the question, I can read it by title only, if you like. Resolution 26-01, a resolution of the Okeechobee Utility Authority, Okeechobee, Florida, adopting the schedule of rates, fees, and charges for fiscal year 26 and thereafter, and providing for filing a copy with the authority clerk and providing an effective date. That would be Resolution 2601. It's in your board package.
We have a motion to accept the resolution. So moved by Mr. Mullenhauser. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hargraves. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Next thing on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, consent agenda, it's showing items, consent items between 5 to 18. If there's any questions, then the recommendation is to pull that item for later discussion and consideration. Otherwise, if the consensus is to pass it, we'll just need a motion to approve the consent agenda as shown.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Galatia to approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hargraves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Consent agenda passes. Next thing is the meeting minutes from the last meeting. Any comments or corrections? Questions? We have a motion to accept the meetings from the last meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Galatia. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Mullenhauser. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, like sign. Motion passes. We're opening the meeting to public comment.
It's up for public comments, if any. Okay, no public comments. We'll move to agenda item 21. This will be a customer request, Pine Ridge Park. These are the heirs of the previous property owner. Took over ownership and found out that there had been letters sent to the previous owner identifying him of the connection charges to the water and wastewater system within Pine Ridge Park. There were reduced fees at the time. We have since raised the fees. They now own the property. They're here asking for, since they were unaware, whether the board would consider offering them reduced fees that the previous owner had. They're here to make their case to the board. If you want to get up and just address, state your name and address and your concern right up here at the, please.
How you doing? My name is Angel. My father don't speak too good of English. Basically, my uncle passed away. With that being said, you know, within the months about a year it took us to like fully get possession because his girlfriend was there. We didn't know what was going on. We were still actually fighting with the kids, you know, trying to deal with the kids' legal guardian process. So within that time frame, we kind of got possession of the property. We took her. We thought everything was fine. She told us everything was paid for. Everything is cool. We got her out the house. Then this unwind, all these bills. We started actually getting them from the house and reading them. We came down to try to figure out to fix it. I guess at that point it was too late. So now that we got possession, we're trying to basically fix everything that my uncle had kind of basically left to us. So if we would have known exactly what's going on prior to it, we would have caught it. Obviously, everything would have been taken care of, but due to the circumstances of my uncle and us basically fixing the pieces of the puzzle, here we are today. We have made payments. We have been paying. We had an opportunity to come to, you know, let you guys know what's going on to see if we could somehow get this situated.
What are your intentions of the property?
My father wants to keep it. You know, it's my uncle's house. It's one of his kids. Also, we had to bring him today, so kids just want to keep it. You know, it's right now. It's there. It's not to be sold or anything. So at the moment, it's just keeping it.
Is someone living there now?
Yes.
And the intent is to continue living there? Is it being rented out?
Oh, right now it's being rented out until, you know, further notice. But my father at the moment does not want to sell it.
When did he pass?
He passed
November 28, June 29, 24.
June 29, 24.
And when did you take possession?
We took full possession about a year later when we got the girlfriend out. Because apparently the girlfriend was paying everything. So we thought, you know, everything was fine until we got a letter that, to my dad's house, we got a letter stating a big bill. That's when this whole door opened.
Because my question is, he owned it, and then when did you actually own the house?
My uncle was dealing with health problems, so he was going into surgery knowing he wasn't gonna make it. So he luckily made it out the surgery because his main artery, and he only had like a few days that he wasn't gonna make it. So he transferred the property to my father, and then he died. So once he died, we were, you know, kind of cleaning out the house. The girlfriend was taking care of all the bills. Everything was supposedly, until at the same time we were already battling with the kids, which we still are to this day, with my uncle's kids. So it was like two battles. So we were worrying about mainly of the kids until we kind of got that situated. Now we're in the problem of the house.
So I see, based on the information we have, the property was transferred on June 27th of 24. And he passed June 29th, is that my understanding of 24?
Correct.
That is correct.
Yes, he had a few months of very bad health issues. So
So that would be why you all received a notification.
correct,
for the property transfer.
correct, absolutely. And then we would talk to the girlfriend. Oh no, I already paid that. Until we actually got her out, till we started coming to the city. We started coming to like figure out what's paid, paying the property taxes, paying everything, trying to, fix something that we didn't start, but we're just trying to make everything correct. We're, trying to make everything right.
John, were there any notices from OUA to them other than?
There were numerous letters mailed to the residents, and then later on, when we could see that there was a out-of-town property owner, mailed it to the father, the uncle, if you will.
And that happened in November?
I don't know the date, sir, but we have records of that. But it was probably September timeframe is when I think the next mailing was, after they got it transferred in June.
Of 24?
Yes.
So you should have received a letter in September of 2024?
Maybe to the house, but remember, we weren't getting no mail there. So if it did come, which I'm pretty sure it did, we never knew anything about it. Like, we didn't even know that the house was connected to the city. We thought the whole time it was septic. As far as my uncle always told my father and stuff. So we're just basically finding all this out now, in other words. And we've tried multiple times to we came here multiple times to try to address it, and I guess this is the opportunity they gave us to try to do anything about it.
The problem as I see it is there's not a whole lot different than just having a homeowner buy a piece of property and it hadn't been upgraded or the bill hadn't been paid, and if we allow, a reduction in fees for this, then the next person that purchased the house in that time period is going to want the same thing.
I'm sorry, the next person who purchased what house?
Any property,
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it's more of the situation that this particular property is. It's not like we bought it and we just bought it as is and we have to eat that. This is basically a situation that my uncle had. He passed, and now it's basically passed down to us that now we got to eat, type. So it's not physically us that it's my house or my father's house that, hey, about this. We're just finding all this out. My uncle's not here. If he would have been here, we wouldn't be the one that would be here.
Is the property free and clear?
Yes, it is.
So you've inherited a property that's free and clear as a part of this situation, correct?
I'm sorry?
So you've inherited a property that's free and clear, no loans, no mortgages, anything of that nature?
I assume so.
Yes.
Yes.
I really don't think there's anything we can do.
I mean, I'm not asking to bring the balance down to zero. All we're asking is if we can get that a reduction, because obviously, it's.
We made numerous efforts to make everybody aware of the issues, that the price increase was coming. And that's what I asked John, if there was a letter mailed to the new owner's address. And you said yes, probably September 20th.
I would have to go back and check the records. I'm sorry, I did not include all the letters.
Well, the only letter we got, as soon as we got that letter, we came straight here with the letter, and we made a payment, and we made a payment plan immediately. If we would have seen the letter 2 months ago, we would have came 2 months prior. But as soon as we received the letter, if you guys can see on file, we came here, we gave $1,000 down payment, we got on a payment plan, we've been making payments. So it's not like if we would have done it then or we would have done it before. We did the initial to come and pay it. We just obviously got the letter too late But like I said, it's not, we're in a situation that we're trying to, like I said, fix the pieces of the puzzle. It's not like we ignored it, we didn't care about it. You know, once we physically seen like, oh, there's a problem, we immediately came straight here. We spoke to the lady in the front. We got on a payment plan. She told us what we had to pay. We did that. We came last month. We made another $2,000 payment. You know, it's just from a couple $1,000s to almost $10,000. It's not a couple $100 difference from what the, you know, whatever the fee was to where it jumped up. It jumped up very, almost double, triple, tremendously. So, you know, that's all I'm saying.
Well, the $2,000 fee was actually a reduced fee.
No, we just made an extra 2,000.
But the connection charge before the increase was a reduced fee.
Correct.
And due to the increase in infrastructure rebuilding, placements, all the fees that the OUA has, the fee had to go back to the full amount. And that's what you're charged. It's not just an increase. It was the full amount. The fees previously were reduced fees, the $2,000 fee.
So there's absolutely nothing we could do due to the situation that we're in. You know, me explaining what's going on, that this is not like a bill that we personally ignored or we're trying to not pay. You know, this is...
Apparently the lady that was staying there did not do a good job for you guys.
Correct, and it took time, you know. Put yourself in anybody, in my position, you know, you just get thrown this situation, this problem. We're just trying to fix it, make things right, pay the taxes, you know, make sure that the property is getting the attention that it needs once we were 100% aware of the situation. You know, until that time, we weren't aware of what was going on because we were kind of battling the kids. You know, my uncle passed literally in front of them, and at my father's house. So from that being said, you know, there was a lot of, I wouldn't say more important things, but we were busy. You know, we were doing things that we probably didn't notice that, but we were asking, hey, is the property taxes paid? We would come, make sure it's paid, you know, until we got that letter. Once we got that letter, not a day went by, not 2 weeks went by, we came immediately straight here. So, you know, our effort was made. It was just my father didn't notice it. He doesn't read too well English. That's kind of why I'm here, you know, explaining things to him. So once he read it, once he seen it, he was like, hey, what is this bill? $7,000, $8,000, you know, and that's when we came straight here. So we would have seen that prior, we would have been here and addressed it. You know, we weren't trying to not address it. It was just a situation of basically my uncle leaving this slightly issue, and now we're trying to fix it.
The flavor of, yes, John?
So let me just make sure we're clear. We understand the family's plight, you know, the loss and the difficulties with dealing with family issues
Correct.
after the fact. But you also have to understand our perspective in that letters were sent to the address and eventually to your father, you know,
Correct.
at a later date. So the dilemma we're here is, yes, there was a personal loss. Yes, there is the idea that we advertised the rate increases, that it was going to go back to the accepted, the full amount. That was delayed several times for different reasons. And then in May, it was decided that that was going to be the date. It was going to be reverted back to 100%. So that's the dilemma we're in right now, is not really what got us to this point between who got letters, who, you know, who's challenging. It's just that the rate is set at the accepted value. If changes are made for this reason, are there going to be other reasons in other cases as to where it ought to be reverted back? And so that's ultimately what the task is here that the board has to deal with.
No, I understand, and that's kind of the reason why I'm explaining the exact situation of why it led this case to where we're at. You know, I understand if it would have been my uncle standing here today, he knew.
Right.
If he was, you know, if you guys sent it and he was physically living there, he would know. Then I would understand if there was absolutely nothing that could be done, because he's at 100% all fault. all I'm asking for is due to the fact that the situation that we're left in, we're trying to fix things and make things right with everybody. That's all we're here for, is to, let our situation be known. And this is not a regular situation that, hey, this guy just, inherited something or whatever the case may be. No, my uncle passed away. We have no knowledge of what was going on until time went by.
But again, your uncle had years of letters coming to him.
And that could be right.
And
that
he
could be
made,
right.
as the property owner, he made a conscious decision not to deal with it. And unfortunately, it got passed on to your family.
Correct. So, like I said, the letter that you guys had sent, so, if you guys can't reduce it, then that, it is what it is. But I was just trying to be here to try to see if there's anything that can be done to it, because, it is a significant amount that we're now having to be paid for,
We all understand that, sir, and, it's a bad situation for you.
Yep.
But also, it's a tough situation for us to make decisions like that. But,
Yeah, I'm gonna say that we're obviously sorry for y'all's loss, but as a board, we kinda kicked the can down the road, I think, twice, on, what date we were gonna implement this adjustment. It was a very difficult decision for us as a board to make. We all live in this county and we understand what it takes to pay this. It wasn't something that was taken lightly.
Right.
Unfortunately, we set a date and we have to stand by it. I feel that we have to stand by that date.
So, okay, well, there's nothing else I can sit here and tell you, just here to let you guys know what's going on, and there's nothing that can be done. There's nothing that can be done. Thank you guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
Discussion agenda item number 22. Justin Nelson.
Well, good morning, board. Just like I said, I appreciate y'all taking the time to hear what we're proposing or what we would like to discuss with y'all. With me, I have Chief Earl Wooten also, but just a little bit of background. Of course, I was at y'all's last meeting. I know we didn't have as many members here, and we're appreciative we have everybody other than Mr. Nelson here to see what we have to present. But last year in our 2025-2026 legislative session, the Okeechobee County had looked for a funds appropriation for $1 million to design what we need as Fire Station 5. As we've been evaluating, we did receive those funds, and as we've been evaluating and looking at sites that we think would best fit our need and the locations in which we need to have this fire station, we've kind of looked all over, and the county has decided that we think that the location that y'all have, which we call the old Farrell House at 875 Highway 78 West, would be the perfect location for this fire station. It gives us the best opportunity to fit within where the needs are for the fire station. And then I'll let Chief kind of give you a quick rundown on what those needs are and where exactly that it falls. John, I think two right there. So these are the hot spots, and Chief can kind of give you an idea of what those highlighted areas mean and where we are.
Good morning, good morning, everyone. Thank you. So as you can see, this is a part of our CAD system. It's how we dispatch our calls, and it's where our calls are at. We use it very commonly at our BUCC meetings as well to show them where our call volume is the highest at. So as you can see, kind of the red spots is kind of the hot spots there. So you kind of see some up on the top of the screen by our Fire Station 1. Down kind of right in the center of the screen, you see some at our Fire Station 2. And then when you go kind of left and right, southeast and southwest, you see those spots as well. So we have a lot of calls kind of to the southeast down towards Buckhead Ridge. You see that Highway 78 West corridor. You see all of Oak Park. You see all of that stuff along 78 up Southwest 16th Avenue, all up in that area. So there's definitely a lot of call volume there. If we were to put this Fire Station 5 in that location, we would cut 4 miles off of all the responses to that location, and additionally do 7 minutes off those response times as well. As we know, I mean, time is critical in emergencies, and whether it's, you know, a medical call, a fire call, whatever that may be, I mean, time is very critical. So if we could cut 7 minutes and 4 miles, all those responses, that would be very, very critical to the needs of Okeechobee County. And also, it would also help our partners down in Glades County as well, because as most of y'all know, we have a contract for services in Glades County, so it would help them as well. But additionally, it would put a lot better service for a lot of the southwest portion of Okeechobee County.
The next slide will give them your numbers.
So here's some numbers you can see. This is our some statistics we did for 2024 and 2025. As you can see, mainly it's our Station 2 calls that we're looking at there. So there's approximately 541 calls in what we call zone. That's zone 9. So that's kind of the southwest section. So that station will pick up approximately 500 calls in that section, and then also down in Glades County, which is a zone 18, it's an additional 240 calls. So right off the top, we're anticipating around 750 calls for that location, but it'll probably be more than that as well, because part of zone 10 is the corridor there for 441 southeast, and then for 441 south. It would just take some calls off there, kind of around Publix, around Winn-Dixie, that area all the way up around Home Depot and everything else. And our plan would be probably go all the way back to Southeast 18th Terrace to the roundabout is probably what we were anticipating for that station to pick up some additional calls as well. So it's probably around 1,000 calls, probably total a year it would pick up. Is there any questions on?
These are all calls?
Yes, sir. This is all calls, EMS, fire. Yes, sir. This traffic crashes, any type of call that we respond to. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's all of our call volume.
Thank you, sir. So, as we've been evaluating, just, you know, a little more background on this, as we've been evaluating sites and what we've been looking for, we knew we needed a minimum of 2.5 acres to just put in what we need today. This site gives us a 5-acre parcel, which gives us room for expansion, rooms for additional services if they're needed at that site. And as we've looked at it, it gave us the best. It was the best evaluation for the need of what would help assist and take some relief off of Fire Station 2 and Fire Station 1 by having this satellite station at this location. As Chief had stated, you know, the proximity that this has to 441, the proximity it has to Southwest 16th, which gives them the opportunity to more service that southwest section of town. You know, because now either Fire Station 1 or 2 has to make it to that location. We have nothing in that southwest section of town. This gives us that opportunity. And then it being directly on Highway 78 gives us a really good opportunity to move in any direction and increase their service time. Of course, at that location, we do have water already available, which is a great thing for us. And then we do know there is the availability to, you know, try to figure out how we can hook up to city sewer or to OUA sewer. So it really, for us, it seems like it's the best location. And, you know, we would like to discuss with the board, you know, what the options may be for Okeechobee County to acquire the land. This is just kind of a simple site plan of what we would be looking for that station. More likely to be a little bit smaller station than what we're seeing here, but this just kind of gives you an idea of what the need, what we're thinking our need is going to be at that location. And then the next slide would be the actual, a simple floor plan of what we're looking at. This may be a little bit larger, but right now we're still in that design and conceptual phase. You know, the county has graciously added, as of right now, we've got about $300,000 additional dollars that the county has allocated to help with this project. And what we're looking at is, instead of spending all of our funds appropriation for design, we're trying to find something that's already designed, ready to go, that we can just put up, so that we're not going to spend nearly the amount of money that we really anticipated to design this building, to design, you know, our need. We're trying to find something that's ready to go. So we're meeting with other fire districts. We're asking them, like, hey, when was your latest station built? Let's look at those stations. Let's see if this fits our needs, so that we can spend as much of this money that we have allocated, and we've spoke with our grant writer. They're like, yeah, you can use this money for actual construction also. So at that time, when we went into this budget year, the BOCC said, look, you know, we had money allocated for improvements to some of the other fire stations for expansion. They said, look, let's hold off on that expansion. Let's allocate that money to help build this if we can. So that's why we're trying to take every dollar we have right now and try to use that to build the station. And, you know, land acquisition for us, you know, of course, it's a hard pill to swallow for us to have the funds to purchase land. Of course, you know, in a perfect world, we would hope that OUA would try to donate the land to the county. It does serve a great need for our whole entire community. You know, so, you know, with the partnership that we have with OUA, I would love to see us go that direction. But of course, you know, we would love to hear what the board has to say with that. And other than that, any questions, any thoughts, anything?
I missed the last board meeting, so if my questions are repetitive, I apologize in advance. So you stated that a grant has already been allocated?
Yes, ma'am. The grant it won't be written until we have land. We have to have land acquisition before they will issue the grant. But yes, we have been approved for $1 million grant.
And how much are we anticipating that the cost of this new firehouse?
We're depending on once we get into a final design, once we have a final design, but we're probably estimating with site preparation, site work, drainage, everything else, we're probably around a $2 to $2.5 million project. But until we get into where we actually find an exact design, but we are looking at a lot of alternate construction methods. One of them we're looking at is red iron, trying to figure out how we can build this the most cost-effective way for the community.
So you stated the county's already allocated $300,000 toward the 2.5, and then we have a $1 million grant.
So we've got a $1 million grant, and then we've got $300,000 that's allocated for expansion projects at our other fire stations to help serve the need. During our budget discussions at the end of last budget year, they've approved those improvements, and we're holding off on those improvements to see if we can use that money to help get this project built.
So where's the difference of the cost versus what you have?
We will be requesting those funds in this year.
Okay. So you will have those funds covered.
That is our goal. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what is the term of the grant? What's the window?
So we have 18 months to do land acquisition to get the grant started, and then from then on we have 4 years to actually finish construction. The need is now, and that's why we wanted to go ahead and start having these discussions to go ahead and try to figure out how we could do a land acquisition, because our goal is to find something that's ready to go. If we can find something that's ready to go, we would love to start construction in 12 to 14 months.
So the cost of the 2.5 does not take into consideration any land?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's just construction, just hard costs. Yes, ma'am.
My other question would be, what would happen if this does not come to fruition? What is the, what would you be doing with the property? If this does not come to fruition?
This would be the intent of this, and it will come to fruition. I mean, we have enough support that I don't think there's going to be any issue with the BOCC supporting the need that we need this station. We know what the call volume is. Like I said, we know where the need is, and they've been pushing us to try to find a location that best suits the need. And right now, that is the biggest need for that relief. So, I mean, the chairman can speak on it, but I would know for sure that I think we would have the support from the BOCC to make up any shortfall that we have. And I think that's the main reason why they had the discussions in our budget hearings this last year to let's hold off on these constructions. We know we've allocated the money for that. If that is what we have to do, we'll do it. But let's hold off on that. Let's go ahead and make sure we have those funds setting aside to help with this. And then we went back and met with the grant writer, because the $1 million we asked for was just for design. When we went back, met with the grant writer, said, hey, if we can acquire land, if we can find something that's ready to build, that's a simple design, that's much easier to build, and we can VE through that process, can we use this for construction? And they said, yes, no problem.
Okay, so I want to make sure I heard you clearly. That the $1 million was for design, and if there's anything left over, grant writer stated you could use it toward construction?
Yes, ma'am. And our goal is to not use barely any of that $1 million for design. But going back to what the proposed design was, that's what we were looking at, is $1 million to do from scratch. But now we've looked at other sites. We're going to keep looking at some other sites to figure out what fits our best need. And then we'll value engineer that down to exactly what we can do to get by for now. And then we will be looking at, as needed, we can do expansion.
So the other sites that you're considering, those would be sites you would have to purchase?
So we have other sites that we're looking at, and those are county-owned properties, but they just don't fit the need as highly as this site does. Yes, we do have other sites that we're looking at for the county, like on 70 East, 70 West. There's other sites that we've looked at that are county-owned properties, or there's property that has been not at this point given to the county, but there's property out there that we do have landowners who are willing to work with the county to donate land for future development areas for that purpose of another fire station. But our true need right now, and I think a long-term need, especially with what's happening, in that area, is that 78 and 441 Southeast and the southwest section of town.
Well, the location makes perfect sense to me. John, my one comment would be is, if something were to happen and just not come to fruition for whatever reason, how would we consider in getting the property back for OUA use?
We can have a revert clause where if we do not move forward this project in a time frame, that we would return the property back to the OUA. And I don't think we would have any issue with that.
What was the intended use of the property, John?
Originally, it was purchased that we were to make that, well, it fronted on the acreage behind where we have a disposal area for the water, but then we were going to turn that into a parts maintenance type of operation because we were running out of room in our maintenance building for all the parts that we were storing. So we were going to either use the house at that time or tear it down and build a parts distribution area. There'd be plenty of room to store pipe and, the big items, but that's what that property was going to be used for.
So John, question, piggybacking off of that. So you stated earlier that 2.5 acres may be suitable?
That would give us exactly what the need is now. It would restrict us on expansion based off of retention and what we would have to do for stormwater. To get exactly what we need today, that would get us by. Our goal would be to have a little more land so that we could look at for expansion in the future.
Does it have to be on 78, or what if there was OUA property right near the intersection of Wolf Road and Eagle Bay, where we built our vacuum pump station?
Wolf Road and Eagle Bay.
Let me pull it up here.
So that would be that corner.
And how much property is there, John?
That gets us
Probably
real
3
close
acres
to
or
that.
so.
That's what I'm wondering about.
So Wolf Road and Eagle Bay, that would be where they just built a new pump station.
I'm just trying to look it up.
No, I appreciate that. I would have to revert back to Chief on how that fits with his call volume. But it would be the property behind the new pump station.
Yes, this is
Yep.
where we have this station now.
Yes, sir.
You can see it's only in this corner. There are some trees, but there is plenty of open space here. Now, the board has not looked at this. This is new to them. I don't know. But I'm just saying, if you're talking about being in the southwest section, that's in the middle of the southwest section.
But what would be our expansion, our future expansion?
For that property? We have no real known plans for it other than our vacuum station. And the property owner at that time was all or nothing. We bought all the property, so we thought we may have to carve a piece out and sell it at a later date. But, if it could all be for a government complex, I don't know that really is going to hurt the OUA.
Mr. Hay, can you click on that and tell me what size that parcel is?
Chairman, what's the 2.38?
Yeah, 2.3.
Okay. So that would really restrict us on expansion in the future because of stormwater. The stormwater is our biggest concern. There's going to be a significant amount of retention that we have to hold on site.
total's 2.3, they're already using it.
An acre.
20%.
Yeah.
If I could.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes. And we are in negotiations with the new development in Glades County and Glades County. A lot of negotiation has to go on, and we feel like that this site would probably do the best. But we also ask you to please don't, if we don't, it does come to tuition, don't shorten the date up real tremendously, because we don't know what's happening in Tallahassee with our taxes. We may have to do a lot of cutback. Hopefully, it's not going to be on fire and police, but, you know, other things. So I would say, I don't have a problem is if we don't build it in 10 years, it would come back, you know, to do that. But the negotiations is going to take a lot of time to provide services to the new development, if they cooperate, and that remains to be seen. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Is there still a need, John, for that, maintenance supply yard or?
That hasn't changed. I mean, we still have only so much space in the barn with vehicles, and there's a lot of product that's stored outside. It just would give from an auditor standpoint, there's more control over the parts, because right now it's kind of wide open.
Right.
So, long term, that was the goal. It never materialized.
And, yeah.
So just as a background, when you were here last time, we had no idea what the value of the property was. We know what we purchased it for, but we had no idea of what the current land value is. So in the interim between your last visit and this one, we've had the property under a commercial appraisal. So we do have that as a value for what the property is worth if there was supposed to be a sale process, as opposed to a transfer of ownership, the donation.
Thank you. And I think, another concern we may have with this site is going to be the kickback from the community, it being right there in that residential corridor. They're between Oak Lake Estates and that area, there might be a significant kickback for us.
There can always be that NIMBY syndrome that could apply, but then on the flip side of that, and I don't know how the insurance company works, but if your response rates are cut down, I would think there would be some benefit for insurance purposes on the fire side. So I think we probably will run into that lots of places.
Those houses would get a commuter side.
What did the OUA purchase the property for?
The one on 78?
Yes.
Just over 300,000, like under 325 or somewhere thereabouts, 350. I'd have to go back and get the records, but it's in that range, I believe.
It's appraised at 576.
But the current appraisal is at 576, which is what it's worth today to the OUA ratepayers, based upon that commercial appraisal.
What about the 56 acres?
To me, this is good for the entire community. I went on record last time we talked about this at the last meeting. I was and currently still 100% for this. I know that there's been an appraised value of the entire property. They're only questioning about 5 acres out of that entire property. But most of the time, the local government agencies work real well together. I know that AUA has received some land from the city for some projects. My interest would be, and somebody would have to point out how it would be detrimental to the AUA or to its ratepayers, what would stop us from donating this 5 acres to the county, since it's a benefit to each and to everyone. That and I said last time, in the past 6 months, I've been down to Buckhead Ridge. Well, last time I said 2 times. Well, we've had an accident with one of our crew trucks and stood down there, so now it's been 3 times in the last 6 months waiting for fire rescue. And I know that they come as hard and fast as they can, but when you really need them, it seems like it's about 6.5 hours before they get there. And when you hear that first siren coming across the bridge, it's a relief knowing that they're on their way to get to you down there. So my take on this is I would like to see, like I said, somebody would have to really point it out how it would be detrimental to donate this land.
Well, I think it's in a great location. I mean, the other property, I mean, I understand where John's coming from, but the response time is slowed down just because of the location. So I think it's a great idea. My other question would be, is there any type of swap option where the county has property that we might be able to swap for this property that would be useful to OUA?
I don't know that. I'd have to go back and look. I don't know of anything.
That's just a question.
Piece of that. Yeah. So I think if there is something that we can look at, you know, I mean, we would definitely be willing to look at a land swap if there's something. We would just have to figure out what would benefit the OUA. And, you know, I know the OUA has, you know, a pump station on the airport property that, you know, that y'all have that location. And, you know, we've tried to work with the OUA as much as we can and trying to make sure that what your needs are, we can give you those opportunities. So if that's the direction the board would like to go, we could always sit down, myself and Mr. Hayford, and try to figure out if there's something that benefits y'all that is at a surplus for us. But, you know, our biggest goal is we're about 4 months into an 18-month duration to where we have to move this grant forward. So our biggest push is to try to figure out how we can acquire land and not have to use a site that we don't think best needs the citizens of Okeechobee.
I'm in agreement. I just think there's opportunities where there's a piece of property that would be conducive to us, just like it is for the county and a fire station. That might be an opportunity. But,
Very, very good idea there. At this time, you know, that we probably don't have anything that's going to fit. Justin mentioned the pump station at the playground. We'd be glad to give you the wooden jungle. You want to maintain it. But no, we have developments going in. Steve just mentioned one that's going north of town that you're going to need the services there. They're going to donate land to the county for the fire station. We would be more than happy to share that. We're just asking that you don't tie that together. Let's go with the idea that we're going to work together. If you come to us, just like you did for the pump station, we want to be cooperative with you, but not tie it to one another, if you would, please.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, the OUA and the board gets a black eye on a lot of things. I believe this would be a great opportunity to show the community that we're willing to work with the county and do what we need to provide for the needs of the county. I live off of 78. I know the need for this.
Yeah.
So I would definitely be in favor of it.
Yeah. Well, good example is the main line that's going around the east side of the county. There's some people trying to slow it down or not cooperate, and so the county said, hey, if you want to do a development, you better ante up. And so it's all working together. We're all Okeechobee, you know, just the properties in different names.
so what do we need to do at this point, John?
Well, first and foremost would be board direction as to how we want to proceed. If it's a donation, then I would work with our board attorney to draft up a sales contract, if you will, on the donation. If it is a price, that would just be modified for the price. So really, we just need to know what the board's pleasure is, whether you want to move forward with the project, the transfer of the property, and if so, at what cost. And then Steve and I can draft up a draft agreement, if you will, for the transfer of the property and get that to the county, and then they can review it. So it's really, you've had several options here tonight, or today, I should say, not tonight, free, you know, a transfer, exchange between governmental agencies. Previously, there was a discussion of the price being what we have invested in the property, what we purchased it for, or we went out and got the appraisal, you know, there's the appraised value. So it really, I have to take staff's direction from the board, which way you'd like to move forward.
I'd like to make a motion to donate the property to the county.
We have a motion by Mr. Hargreaves to donate the property to the county.
I'll second, but I also want to have the reverter clause.
Yes.
Yes, please.
What, wait, okay, for the second, so before, who had the second? Tabitha? As far as the reverter clause, there was a discussion then on a time limit. Would that be that would you want a time limit of 12 months?
No.
60 months?
We
you know,
can't
10
build
years?
we can't build anything that soon. At least give us 10 years to do, in case,
Okay, well,
right.
I'm just saying whatever, when we draft it up, that we get it right.
Yes, I think that that's fair based on what they're
10
saying.
years.
And the economic outlook of what's going on in Tallahassee, so.
Okay?
Any further discussion?
Do we need to modify the motion?
I believe the motion is modified. It's to be a donation of the land with a 10-year reverter clause. If it's not used for fire department uses, that it reverts back to OUA.
That's correct.
Is that amended by Steve and Tabitha? Okay.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. Motion passed.
Okay, so
Thank you so
I'll
much.
work with
Appreciate
Steve, and then we'll get you a copy, and then y'all can mark it up, and we'll get it right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
And thank you guys for what you do day in and day out in
Yes.
this community.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
That
you.
goes without saying, you guys are awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
y'all.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
And congratulations on your retirement.
I thought you on the side about that. Everybody used to.
Was that sort of also because of where you're at, too? Is there any kind of hint there?
Not
Okay.
at all.
Moving on to agenda item number 24, CES Government Services.
First, we have number 23, sir. It's
I'm
the
sorry.
purchase of a property, the last purchase of property for the a vacuum pump station in Treasure Island, specifically Brenda Van Forest. You have the appraisal there. You have the recommended, the sales price that was negotiated. We'll be happy to answer any questions you might have on the purchase of this property.
County don't have anything other than they're good to us.
They've left. Yeah, well, you'll never see that deal, but that's okay. It'll be in our back pocket.
All right, so we're there.
So this is area that suits our purposes?
It is very close to the original site. Let's see if there's a area map here. Well, this is the site that we're purchasing on the far east end. But right around the corner by a couple lots was the one that originally was asked for by the design engineer. So we ran this site by him, said, will it work hydraulically? And they said yes.
Does someone actually still live here?
They used to. I think it is vacant now. There is a older mobile home on the property that we would demo.
Okay. What's the cost of the demo and the clean out of all this? That's an additional cost.
Estimated $5,000 to remove the mobile home structure. There's also some trees that are gonna have to be taken down, so I think a realistic $10,000 to get the lot cleared to the suit purpose.
This is a better location for us.
I will tell you if we look at the long term, it's better for us because we back up to all that vacant property to the east. And if they wanted to develop it, it would be a direct tie into this vacuum station. So from a standpoint for us, it's a better lot because we're open to all that vacant property to the east.
So he wants 90,000.
It's at
85.
It's at 85. That's what we negotiated to, the 85 number, which is slightly more than the appraised value, but it's within the realm of what appraisals do.
So is there any zone changes that have to take place with this?
No, ma'am, it'll be for governmental use.
Okay.
What was the appraise?
Do you remember the appraisal?
Splitting hairs.
It's well within the range of what you would expect on appraisals, you know, the market value. And I will also add, it's considerably less than most of the other properties we were looking at. They were in the 160 range. So from a standpoint for the OUA, a little bit smaller parcel, but dollar-wise, location-wise, it's very good. Did we closed on the Edwards, right?
Edwards property closed.
So this is the final site that we're gonna need for Treasure Island?
And this is reimbursable by the grant.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented by staff.
I have a motion by Mr. Trent. I'll second. Second by Mr. Mullenhour. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed, like sign. Motion passed.
So item 24, this was brought to the board last month, but by the time it came up on the agenda, we'd lost quorum. So it turned into an informational purposes only. CAS Governmental Services is our statewide lobbyist, although they do help us a little bit on other issues, federal as well as state. They are busy at work right now they stayed working under their old contract, which had an automatic renewal. This one does allow for a $5,000 annual increase to their contracted amount. From a staff perspective, I mean, you can look at all the stuff they have done in the past for us, but they continue to work for us. They are diligently working on the land swap deal for the Cemetery Road wastewater treatment plant facility with the state, as well as we're already in the preliminary budget for the AMI, the automatic metering deal. The other two appropriations are still pending, that being the advanced waste treatment, as well as the remaining monies for Southwest Fifth Avenue vacuum collection. So they're still working on that. The CAS Governmental Services LLC, I can't say enough positive about what they do for us, and would strongly suggest and recommend that we approve this annual contract in the amount of $50,000 per year. And built into the contract, as you will see, there will be automatic renewals if both parties do agree with that extension. And again, if it's approved this year, it would take effect for this year.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Mr. Trent to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hargraves. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Water main repair, John.
So we do operator utility here, and sometimes things break. This one happens to be near the new fire station on State Road 78, right in front of Lake and Trail. A tapping sleeve leaked for some reason. It used to be in the grass shoulder when they built the new gas station store. They had to put in a new travel lane right on top of the 24-inch. We're suspecting that the construction of that travel lane, vibrations from compaction, whatever, may have helped facilitate a leak in the tap. It wasn't a bad leak, but it was enough to be shown and could have been very, very detrimental. So we had to go in and try to isolate the tappings, the leak, not knowing, again, what it was until you get down on it. And in so doing, a 24-inch valve at the corner of 16th Avenue and 78th broke, which just jacked up our repair costs tremendously. A replacement valve alone is $21,000. So we had to get these repairs done. We don't know when, something else more catastrophic might happen. So I went ahead and exercised an emergency clause to get the repairs done to the tune of $60,068.29. and asking for after-the-effect approval of this emergency expenditure.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Mrs. Trent, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Mullenhour. Any questions?
I do have a comment. I rode by that day. Staff did a great job with traffic control. Pretty impressed. I mean, there were a lot of guys there, a lot of moving parts. They were still letting traffic through. Did a very good job.
It was a concerted effort between the contractor who did the original MOT plan. We pulled the permit, I did, and then staff who's done this once or twice before. You know, we get law enforcement to help us with their red and blue lights. Safety is paramount. You know, posted speed limit's 45, which means 62 miles an hour or more is the speed limit. And anytime you have personnel and equipment in an active roadway, it's very dangerous. So yes, safety, cones, flaggers, deputies, it is a high priority. And get in and get the job done and get out.
And they do charge us for that.
For which one is that?
There's an invoice here.
Oh, no, we gladly pay it because it's one of those things when you go after safety, you don't know what's imperative and what you have to do, but if you don't do it, the results are terrible. So yes, we do.
I'm just making a point, there is a fee for that.
Oh, no.
Come down and do it.
And we will gladly, in those kind of instances, we will gladly pay it to help everybody be better, whether it's the traveling public, the contractors, or our employees.
And I can tell you, traveling that road on a daily basis.
You're doing 45.
Whenever people hit the water plant, that means the gas pedal. I mean, it's from the water plant on, they ramp it up. So,
You don't, though. You're
no,
45.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it was, the MOT was spot on, did a great job.
Thank you very much. We'll pass that on.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed, like sign? Okay, next agenda item, for job growth grant fund.
So we have the developer here again this morning to answer any questions on the Florida Job Growth Grant Fund. Just in a nutshell, what it was about was a request from the Department of Commerce for $5 million to help finish the 16-inch water main that is in Okeechobee County, getting to the tower in Buckhead Ridge. It's a $5 million ask through this Florida Job Growth Grant Fund. It wasn't identified until a later meeting with department staff that there is a requirement for certifying the jobs that we put in the application. The number of jobs were in fact created. And because the Okeechobee County Okeechobee Utility Authority is the applicant, it would be a requirement of the OUA to certify that the jobs were in fact created for the money used to build the pipeline. It's somewhat of a sticking point with me because ultimately the OUA would have to do the certification. However, the direction was given to the OUA board attorney and the developer's attorney to work out a clause that would protect the interest of the OUA with job certifications, and I believe a memorandum of an understanding was developed between the two parties, and it's in your board package. The developer will be here to address it, or our attorney can address it, as to is that protection for the certification portion there so that the OUA can move forward with this application. So that's kind of where I leave it with you. I think we have scaled back the number of jobs to make that level more obtainable. But again, the developer has the responsibility of building the buildings, getting the cooperation of various commercial enterprises to move into it, to guarantee the jobs, And that's a part of this memorandum of understanding that is in your board package. So I would open it up to any questions or comments from the board. Certainly our attorney and the developer is here to answer any questions.
So based on page 1 of 5 on the MOU, is it 285? Is that the final number?
Is that the final number of jobs that we're going to specify? 285? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and my question would be, how are we going to, being the OUA, going to guarantee certification of these jobs?
Well, in the MOU, there's a requirement, I believe, in there, and they can speak to this, that the certification of those jobs has to originate from the developer or someone there in the community as to the number of jobs that were created. And in going forward, I can tell you that the Commerce Department, I believe this was a requirement, they wanted, no, that was another one, but they have letters of interest from various businesses that said, if you build it, we will open our store there, whether it's a box store, healthcare, bank, schools, we'll be there.
And what's the time frame on this?
From the Commerce Grant, we have up to 10 years to produce those 285 jobs.
So over a 10-year period, 285 jobs, okay.
So it could happen within 3 years, but there's a 10-year window.
And who is tracking this? Where is the liability going to fall if something does not come to fruition?
That would be with the applicant for the grant, which is the OUA.
Which is the OUA, and what would be the penalties if?
I'm unsure what the penalties are, but worst case scenario is you have to pay back the grant amount plus any interest or penalties on top of that.
So we're looking at a grant of $5 million?
Yes, ma'am.
So we would be held to $5 million if 285 plus jobs are not generated.
That would be my initial understanding, yes.
Does our attorney have feedback on this?
Sure. The purpose of the MOU is to indemnify us against that. So the grant provider would ask us to reimburse them for failure to produce the correct number of jobs. And if that were to happen, we would simply sue them and get the money from them. Unfortunately, that's kind of the best we can do.
Is there any type of insurance that's available for anything of this nature?
There are sureties for performance, construction, maintenance. I don't know the answer. I'll ask. Okay.
Please just give me your name and you can.
Good morning. Good to see you all again. Sorry about my voice. I'm a little under the weather, like the trees we installed in Lakefront.
The brown trees, those beautiful brown trees?
The beautiful brown trees which will green one day. But yeah, this is a grant which was applied, right? Like one of the conversations I had, I mean, going forward, we're working with other grants which will be more directly through CRAMUS, not through the OUA, CDBG. There was a lot of things out there. But this grant, because it was already applied, the reinsurance is, just wanted to give you, because I don't know if you were here last time, but I gave out some booklets, right? Some of the facts, and that's why we lowered the job to 285. I mean, I'm not going to sound sarcastic, but just to explain it to you, currently we are well over 285 jobs, right? But just because we weren't tracking it from when the grant was applied, so this doesn't apply only starting from now, right? But this project is not a project which is private investors. It's publicly funded by EB5 United, all this public information, and there is a few $100 million already secured. We have currently over $150 million in infrastructure. We have Optimum Bank, which gave out an official public statement that they're opening up a branch. Between all the LOIs which we're getting of people moving in, and you're talking about as short as this coming September, we have the 10-year period. I don't think it'll be 3 months before we hit the 285. So it's not of like, okay, let's see what happens, or, I mean, I understand, you know, technically it's the OUA's liability, but just to reassure you, if you look how much money went into the project, if you look what's secure, even worst case scenario, if something, God forbid, goes wrong, it'll be well past the date of creating 285 jobs. It'll be in a year or two from now. The amount of stores, like I said, and commitments, we have First Med Medical Center, we have a lot of commitments. That number of 285, is going to be done within 2 months, and the funding is there for all that to happen. So that should serve as far as, besides all the MOUs which we did of, making sure that we also offered that if in any case there's any administrative work which needs for an outside company to monitor or make sure everything is produced, that all that costs will be on us.
Where is that in writing?
That's in the MOU.
They put it in there. No, that's fine. We had the two attorneys, which, thank you so much. They really worked with speed. They worked with great speed, not as much as John, because he works till 1, 2 o'clock at night, you know what I mean? But,
okay, sure.
yeah, we gotta cut it off at midnight.
Do you have to maintain that 285 for a certain time period?
The way it was told to me is you just have to get to that threshold within the time period.
So once we get to it.
Once you can prove to them and certify to them that you have produced 285 jobs, then they let you loose. And that's what I'm saying. We already produced today a lot more than 285. And with the amount of stores and different things we're opening up, the 285 will be done most probably within 3 months or less.
Is that sustainable, 285?
Absolutely.
So
Gonna-
it's sustainable, so.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different things, and there's, it even goes in, there's gray area, but even goes in, I mean, just the private school, there's the medical center. I'm saying there's so many things which are bulk. We're looking at producing some kind of, commercial grade bakery, which has 60 jobs. We're well over that number.
Well, I want to make sure I understand what you're saying there, because obviously bringing in the construction, contractors, things of that nature, job generation. But I want to make sure if this is sustainable, if there's measurements there that we have to track, or it's not a matter of one and done. Anybody can hire somebody and say that you were hired on, and in 90 days, they're gone.
Right, but if you open a store or if you open any medical facility and you hire these people, there is no commitment of saying, okay, this has to be a 3-year lease or a 2-year lease, whatever. Obviously, we want to keep it there indefinitely, but I'm saying as far as the grant is concerned, there is no commitment of saying, okay, these jobs are going to be there indefinitely.
Okay, so my other question is, and forgive me for not knowing this, but what is your prior history on building communities as such and experiencing, the sustainable jobs?
Okay, so I mean, we have a lot of prior history all over the country, but even more than our history is, and I'll get you a copy of the book. We put all that information in. But even more than that is, if you look at the history of who's funding the project, is EB5 United. If you go online and you see all the communities they built, so far to date, they have not failed one because of the amount of revenue they're bringing in. Most projects start getting stuck when the funds run out, right? And that's why I said to you, I don't know what's going to be in phase 7 of the project, but currently we have over $300 million secured for the project. So the initial phases, which is well over, the 1,300 homes plus hundreds and thousands of jobs, the funding is secure.
Right, and you can't retro back these jobs, correct?
No, we have to, the number one, I'm just going to add one more thing. The number one, it's very interesting how it goes. The number one requirement for us to be receiving this funding from EB5 United is job growth. That's the whole idea of how EB5 United gets these funds, is because of rural neighborhoods and job growth. So it's almost kind of tied in.
So I was going to add, and can get into this. They're not looking for temporary jobs, that are here, say, for building the buildings. It's permanent jobs. So it's the buildings that are on their plat that show all the commercial enterprises fronting on 78. I know it's just a square on a piece of paper now, but eventually that will be more of permanent jobs. The healthcare facility, the schools, internal within, there's going to be 285 jobs, permanent jobs that will be there to go in those buildings. I understand he keeps saying there's lots of jobs, but those are construction related, development related, and that's not what the Job Growth Grant Fund, yes, you can put it in there as temporary or transitional, but they want permanent jobs. And that's what their 285 is towards.
Yeah, which we're like I said, very comfortable. That's why I didn't mention like jobs which the OUA installs a water pipe is not what we're counting as jobs. We're talking about just permanent jobs. There's well over 285. I mean, just the 5 commercial buildings we're building now, which are gonna be open in September, that alone houses a lot more than all those jobs. Yeah.
What's under construction now?
Yeah, I mean, even just the private school alone most probably has 60 or 70 jobs between when you're done, between all the teachers, there's different programs, there is not even construction. There's like, just to give you things context, there's most probably 25 people a day working on things going on site right now, not construction related, just developing the program, school curriculum, all these things which are already employed, right? So I'm saying the number of 285, if you see the 5 commercial buildings and you see what's about to come, it's going to be less than 3 months. I'm just saying 3 months to be realistic. It must probably be on day one, as soon as we open. The supermarket needs 20, 30 people. The bank needs, the toy store. There's, from all the LOIs of things which are required, which means to say is, we can't open the development without certain requirements. Those requirements are well over the 285 jobs.
So I heard you say 60 to 70 teachers?
Yeah, I'm talking in total. Exactly, yes. I mean, say, you need, no, I'm sorry. I was just looking if we were going through an Excel sheet yesterday with jobs or something else, but you're talking about a cook, cleaning crew, I mean, all the different variants, administrator.
Is there any comments from our attorney?
No, ma'am, and that's, the details or the minutiae are captured in the MOU, and they require the developer to do the reporting, essentially. We should be submitting to the grant provider pre-prepared reports on what the job creation numbers are. And the MOU requires them to pay us. I mean, I mentioned litigation, but generally speaking, we would just ask for contract terms to be honored in the case that we had to. And again, it seems unlikely, but in the case that we had to reimburse all or a portion of the grant to the grant.
And if you don't mind me adding to that, one more thing which gives you reassurance, the company we're using, which is GrantWorks, is also a very reputable company which has had, if you can check their history online, they really know their stuff. They work all over the country. And, we plan on going for a lot more grants, and they are very by the book and make sure everything is done outside audited companies. So they have a great track record as well.
The original MOU was actually for 500 jobs, so we treated John there, and he actually got it down, and I believe that is meant to be a conservative move. In other words, whatever number we commit to should be fairly easy to achieve.
Other questions or comments? Pleasure of the board.
So what other reservations do we have regarding this?
Well, again, I've voiced mine before, and I'll just, for the record, state it again. It's this requirement of the job certification, of which the OUA is not qualified to do. Yes, we can manage the pipeline, we can do the design work, we can do the construction. Certainly, we benefit getting the water to Bass Pro and Buckhead Ridge residents, as well as new residents, and that would all benefit all of that. It's just the job certification. We don't control the construction of the buildings. We don't control the leasing of the buildings, the job creation. If the MOU protects the best interest of the OUA per the attorneys looking at it, and the developer is okay with creating the 285 jobs, doing the reporting that we need for the Commerce Department, then my concerns can be alleviated. But still, we're the applicant, we're on the hook for that.
Right.
That's the only big issue that I have with it.
And this is mainly for completion of the main.
It is going to go a long way towards completing. I still believe the actual construction cost, design cost, will be more than $5 million, but it's going to be the bulk of that cost.
We would still split the remaining costs.
80-20, yes. 80 for them, 20 for us.
What about the, what about the,
Just say yes.
the extra storage facility that
I'm sorry, what's that,
The
sir?
extra storage facility that's proposed.
So there is a storage tank that is proposed under Phase 3, which is under design right now. I'm trying to negotiate with the engineer on the design fee, which they gave us one. I told them I had to go back and look at that, so they're waiting on a second version. But that's going to be under Phase 3. And again, the storage tank is primarily for the development, and I would assume that that would be reflected in the cost participation for that unit, but that's yet to be determined.
And would this help with the, moving that project forward sooner?
The whole intent of the added piping is to supply the community, existing Buckhead Ridge, as well as the proposed lakefront estates. And being able to get the water to there for domestic and fire protection is going to generate the jobs.
I guess my question, John, is by securing this $5 million, if we did it, would that move that project forward quicker?
Oh, absolutely.
Because funds are available.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
That is an advantage there.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And this is specifically for the project element, the job creation.
The job creations are a result of getting the water to the development, yes.
I guess I'll ask Commissioner Burrows, what's the timeline on Bass Brook?
Well, they got about 15 or 20 days right now to make their mind up.
Okay.
How about that? Let me say one thing about this job growth grant. I talked to John about it on a couple different cases. Most cases, you have to apply as an authority or a county or a city. And what I've told John is that we have, in Glades County, they have an economic development corporation. These are the types of corporations that work cohesively with, I'll say, utility authorities to manage these jobs, do all of the, I'll say, the administrative paperwork for the Department of Commerce. So in the future, if you're going to do one of these, I would think you would work with the Glades County EDC executive director, and that would help compensate some of these questions that you have today. But due to the fact that the Economic Development Corporation, their executive director had moved over to Palm Beach College, and I have a new one I'm training right now, that's probably the reason you had that delay in not knowing those people were there. But in the future, if you're doing something, I would have John contact those folks. They're an independent organization of the county, but they're a 501c6, and they're under the South Central RAO, which is the Rural Areas of Opportunity, by which we work cohesively with the Department of Commerce on grants and things of that sort. So just as information for the board.
Could they in fact be the agency that the developer employs to get the right paperwork to us so that we could present that to the Commerce Department?
I've talked to Adam Calloway, who's the chief of staff in the Department of Commerce. That is something you can do. I can hook you up with Kimberly. She is Kimberly Clement. She's the person you guys can work that out in between the three of you.
So that might be something that we could do, even on this project, late stages, that they can be utilized just to combine all the data you give them, and they give it to us, and we pass it on to the
As
department.
Commissioner Terry said, and by the way, we owe him a big thank you because he introduced us to the CDBG, which we were trying to see if we can move things around, and we found out good news yesterday, and they said you can apply for a different and another grant over there. So that's actually great news. But yeah, we can work on that. I met with Kimberly from the local Commerce of Glades, who's new, and she sounds great. So we're looking forward in future things to go. But I just want to say one last point, which is, like I said, within the packet we gave out last month before the board voted for the attorney to go ahead and make the memorandum, is it's also, we're not just coming here as a, besides the benefits, which a lot of other people are going to have along from this pipe, being upsized and all these things. We're also not coming to you as a new customer. We're coming here as somebody which is investing millions and millions of dollars with the OUA, which we already paid a lot of it, and there's a lot of it which needs to be paid. So there is a lot more than what the grant is coming out of our pocket. I'm not going to say my pocket, but out of the pool. So it's not like, we're just here today and goodbye tomorrow. I mean, again, I just trying to alleviate a little your concern of us just walking away, that there's millions and millions of dollars from our pocket, which needs to make sure. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot of money, but it's kind of also like a drop in the bucket of the grand scheme of things. So I don't think the OUA had any issues with us up until now, right? I'm not talking about personal issues, me and you, John. I'm talking about on the job.
It has been a beneficial union.
Thank you. We just got to make sure John doesn't retire before the project is finished. I know he.
Well,
he wants
we
to-
all know the answer to that. don't we?
Yeah, there has to be an extension. I mean,
Okay,
there is a
sure.
federal government shutdown, so I'm not sure you can give in your.
I'll be an adjunct executive director. So what is the pleasure? If there's consideration, would be to continue to move forward with the Florida Job Growth Grant Fund and the execution of this memorandum of understanding.
And the question that Steve is gonna have answered regarding life insurance or, okay. Okay.
So what is the pleasure? Direction?
Motion for that? Yes, you did. Okay. Larry, are you making the motion?
I'm not sure how to word the motion, but I would move that we move forward on this.
You could certainly move forward with the Florida Job Growth Grant application with the supplemental information that we need to present to them. The execution of the memorandum of understanding between all parties, and before that's executed, the OUA Board Attorney will look to see if there could be a provision for insurance to be added to that memorandum of understanding. But the authorization would be for the OUA to execute all paperwork associated with those two motions.
And that you're also going to be working with the EDC in Glades County.
We will work with them as far as the developer will work with them to get us the required reporting documents we need for job certification.
So
That was your motion. Very good.
We have a motion by Mr. Mullenhauser. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Galmatine. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Motion passes.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Feel better.
Thank you.
All right. Agenda item 27, we're gonna skip over, and then we're gonna go to 28.
Sure. 28. 27. So, again, Executive Director, no to that question about staying on till lakefront is built and all that. We have advertised in a number of places, Palm Beach Post, Okeechobee paper, OUA social media, different periodicals and journals statewide, like Florida Water Pollution Control. There's lots of places that we've advertised the position. Yes, we've gotten in some resumes. The question that I'm trying to develop now is how we can go forward. HR and myself have looked through those resumes, got them in two different piles from the ones that have applied or ones that have applied and probably should need a second look in an interview. But what I would prefer is that maybe we create a committee, if you will, maybe appoint a board member or whomever to do that review of these resumes coming in, that then would bring back the selected resumes to the full board for review, consideration, and possibly interviews with the candidates. But I'm to the point now where we've done the initial groundwork, but I need some direction from the board as to how the executive director that you want to hire, how do you want to move forward?
So you said you've already narrowed down the applicants. How many?
We've reviewed them. They're all going to be provided. All the applications or resumes will be applied, or at least for a board review, but they're still going to be in a group that, yes, these look very favorable, and these applied, but probably not the choice you want to make. But I would still say you look at all of them, whether it's through the review committee and they pare it down, or the full board.
I agree.
So if the review committee or whatever, if that's the way, it can be one OUA board member, and then we can have meetings whenever, but if it's gonna be two or more, we can still do that. But I just have to go through the advertising because it becomes a public meeting.
I nominate Ted.
Well, I would certainly say, is there a volunteer first, and then you can be voluntold. But if there's a volunteer first, that would certainly be a good choice.
JDW volunteer?
Are you volunteering?
Are you volunteering?
I would do it. I mean, I rely a lot on Harry too because he's been here a while. That's a little bit of what, your experience here with the board. But
I'd like to see that. She always has good probing questions.
yeah, we're not picking the person. We're just narrowing down
Right.
the.
And even if you narrow it down, when it goes to the full board, we could still give them all the applications, but they would clearly be in two different piles. Again, I do have a vested interest in this, that we're getting to that point where we gotta keep it moving. And,
John's ready to get out of here.
well, it's the type of, yes, sorta. Yes, sorta. I mean, it's,
I know you have a full-time job, Tabitha, but that's why I thought somebody that's not working full-time might have more time to screen.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'll do it, John. I'll be glad to do it.
is that the board's pleasure then? We would just create a committee with, John Gilliland and HR and myself, and then we bring it back, all of them to the board with the short list and the full list, and we'll bring that back at the next board meeting.
Should we want to have any,
Community representative?
community people on that committee also?
Again, it's whatever, I mean, if you want us or John to secure somebody, it's just, the idea is you want to do whatever is reasonable to make sure you make the best choice. And my suggestion to you would be keep it small to begin with, and then see if there's a tough decision to be made, then bring in others. But whatever y'all want to do. More is not always better.
We said reasonable community members, so.
Well, stakeholders in,
Yes, yes.
in the OUA,
So.
people that
I'm sure
understand
that's
it.
Here's what I would say about that, Jamie. This board is a very wide group of many varied interests. I think you have that community here. I mean, you have retirees, you have working, I mean, you got lots of people here to choose from. I mean, do you have somebody in particular?
Right now?
No, does,
Oh, off the top of my head, yeah, I've got one. Yeah.
But I think
I mean,
that's
you
the
want to
approach.
wait on that, or?
We want to go ahead and do the committee, but as far as the person for representing the community, we can wait on that. Because others may have ideas as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
that's.
But I think the structure of the committee, we can vote on today. What you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you making a motion?
It said,
The HR person.
it said HR and executive director,
And a citizen.
and board member, and citizen. I'll make that a motion, that,
This is a committee then, is that what you're going for?
yes,
Okay,
put together a committee, one board member, executive director, HR representative, and do we want to limit it to one citizen, or can it be
you're making a motion.
more than, I'm trying to,
A citizen or two, I mean, I think,
just put two.
for odd numbers.
Two citizen representatives that'll be appointed at a later time.
It is 5.
Yeah. Put together to form a short list in search for an executive director.
So look for 2 general public members. For this committee,
Yes, or the board's gonna,
and who selects those?
that's what I was trying to get to. Is that what we wanna do at the next meeting? Everybody come back with a
suggestion.
That's why I was trying to see if we wanted to do it now.
We wanna have the suggestions at the next meeting, so we're gonna do it at the next meeting.
If I can make a suggestion, can we just go with the committee as it is now, the HR executive director and John Gilliland? And then if you wanted to add 2 members the next time, they could review our work. But the problem we're having, and I have a vested interest here, the problem we have is we move it 30 days further down every time we put it off. And I'm okay with that because I'm not going anywhere, but I'd like to go somewhere. So I'm just saying, it's just one of those deals.
Have you given a hard date?
No, I don't have a hard day. I can't until we know.
Well, maybe if you gave a hard date, maybe that would prompt everybody to, not forcing you to give one, but I'm just saying, I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying, the can keep getting kicked further down the road. I mean, if we said, hey, we have to have a decision made by this
Okay,
date.
I will give you a date next month. Then it's going to be soon, but I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
I'll do it however y'all want to do it, because y'all are hiring.
We're going, you're gonna,
Well, you're talking-
that development might be finished by the time.
No, that won't happen.
How many applicants do you have now?
There's probably, I'm gonna guess, 15.
Any local?
1. Well, I don't know about that, at least 1. I know of at least 1. There might be more, but there's, some of them just aren't gonna be applicable. They're a tire store manager or something. I mean, it's just, probably not somebody you wanna choose.
We've got tires.
Okay, we'll put it on the short list for you then. So, I mean, yeah, I'm good either way. Right, if you're talking about date, right now, it looks like it would be June, or before somebody's on board. It's a long, lengthy process, with monthly meetings.
We have enough to have for Lou's, right?
Left on the agenda?
No, for her, for quorum.
I know, that's what I'm trying to see what else. Yes, we have finance reports that need board approval. The investment report doesn't. So it looks like just the 2 finance reports.
Can we move into that real quick, or, because I need to get, I really do.
All right, so we don't have an answer on the committee then?
We still have a motion on the floor?
There's a start of a motion on the floor. That's about as far as it got. My only concern was if we're gonna add anybody from the community, if we won't do that till the next meeting, they're gonna be 30 days behind in the committee that we've got set so far, and the discussions and applications and everything else. They're gonna walk into it 30 days, at least 30 days behind. That's my only concern with that.
But in answer to your question, what they would miss out would be whatever was discussed at the committee meeting. But at least it was my intent to bring all the applications, all the resumes back to the board so that you would still have a chance to look at all of them as opposed to just the short list.
So this first committee is just creating a short list.
Mhm.
What we're asking. It's not for the final recommendation.
No, they'll come back with 3, 4, 5, 6 recommendations and hopefully rank them. And that'll be kind of what we look at, but like John said, there'll be 2 stacks, there'll be a stack of
All of them. The remaining.
That, if, any of the board members are like, well, wait a minute, what about this one?
Yeah, I just want to make sure based on what the actual committee participation paragraph says from the short list, those applicants will be interviewed by the board. We're saying something a little different here in that paragraph.
Well, this is just a suggestion. So I would say that, yes, you're going to have the short list, but if somebody else wanted to be added to it, because we might get another name in after the committee meets or whatever, we build the interview list. And then that's the March meeting. That will be the April meeting that we do the interviews, or a workshop sometime in between, where you can actually interview the candidates, and then come back to the April board meeting to make a selection.
We still have an open motion.
Can we read it again so we understand it?
Question's going to be to go with the committee as it's listed under agenda item number 27, which would be 1 board member, the executive director, and HR representative at this time, and that at the next board meeting, we come in, board members can come in with suggestions for citizens to be placed on that committee.
So we're still delaying it for the citizens coming in later.
Well, the committee can move forward the way it is right now. They can start. There's going to be application you just look at and go, no, and start ranking it.
So the committee's getting us basically a final short list. Community members would help decide from that short list.
Is that your motion, Jim? You have your final motion? So we can make a decision?
Yeah, 'cause that's the only way it's going to get going right now. If not, it's going to be another 30 days before it even gets started. And John's asked for it not to be dragged out another 30 days.
Well, December 2026 is coming up, so yeah.
If we're going that route, though, I'm not sure why we're even appointing a citizen, outside citizens, because decisions or the piles have already been made.
I know what I'm getting at.
Right, that's where I'm for.
So are we able to send in names and as an email vote for the citizens as a board?
Or you could just leave it open-ended for us to try to find a citizen.
Well, my question is, can we do that? Can we submit names via email and the board vote via email?
Steve?
I can tell you past direction is
That would help speed this up.
Solicit members.
Yes, yes.
Electronic means.
That would give you an opportunity to ask the person that you have in mind if they would be interested as well. Because Jamie has someone, and then I have someone. Are we good with that?
Yeah, we just need a time. We need to have that submitted by a certain time so we can move.
Okay, so if I understand then it would be Mr. Gilliland, myself, HR, and or two possible citizen community members that we could then form this committee to search through. Okay?
I mean, it's Tuesday, that, I'd say by end of business on Friday. I mean, you have a couple days to contact your person, make sure they're good with that. Put it in, let's get it done.
Yep, we need to get moving.
Well, the meeting certainly has to happen within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think those need to be by the end of business on
Okay.
Friday.
That's fine. We'll move forward with that then. I don't know that it needs to be an emotion, but if you want to, that's fine. Otherwise, we're good to go.
Works.
So by,
Yes, I'll add that to my motion.
so by Friday, we'll get, I'll get emails of who you might suggest to be on the community.
I'll second the motion.
Are we clear?
Yes.
So we have a,
John, you're clear?
I got it.
we have a motion by Mr. Gomatia and a second by Mr. Hargraves.
I'm still not clear.
Hey, John, make a motion.
So again, this committee is going to be made up of Mr. Gilliland, myself, and Tammy Finch, our HR. By Friday, if board members want to email me recommendations for community members, we'll find 2.
To appoint up to 2 community
Correct.
members.
That's
So-
right.
So if everyone declines, you can still move forward with those.
That is correct. We're still going to move.
I'm clear now.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Motion passed.
Thank
We'll
you.
move on to the finance report.
Yes, we'll go to number 29, please.
Okay. I'll try to be very quick and brief. You have in your board package 2 sets of finance report. There is this month's finance report and then last month's finance report, which wasn't presented because of a lack of a quorum. So we know that month by month, it's an accumulated figure that we generally present. So for this month, I will present this month, and then at the board pleasure, if they so desire, I'll do just a top level view of last month, right?
But we have 2 agenda items, so we got to do 2 motions.
Okay, all right.
So which one you want to do first, January or December?
Let's do the January one first.
Okay.
All right. So for January finance report, which is at the front, very quickly, it says that if we look at the revenue and income, no, not that sheet, page 2, please. Page 2.
Of the
Next
agenda item?
Yes, next week.
Down.
Yes. Okay, so this is the January page 2 report. In terms of the revenue, just by looking at the report, we have added additional column. And what that is, we generally have the variance analysis, which only show for the current month. So for the variance for the month of January, on the revenue, we are at a 1% below the budget. And previously we said it normally takes 4 to 5 months to order to pick up and to be level with the budget. Last month, if we looked at last month, we were at a negative 2.1. So we have actually improved, moving from a negative 2.1 of the budget to this month, we are now negative 1%. So the gap, what we are showing is that the gap is actually reducing in terms of the revenue. So from a revenue perspective, we are at 4.7 million versus a budget of 4.8 on the revenue. And of course, there is the detail in terms of the water and the sewer. In terms of the operating expenses, looking again, we are at 16.3% of the budget. However, last month, we were at 16.8, so I'll say between month by month, last month to this month, the variance has remained fairly flat, so it has not changed materially, but we do expect as expenses increase over the coming months that the variance will start to shrink a bit further. So that is on the expenses side, and of course we have the detail by department going up. In terms of restricted revenue, and we identify restricted revenue, which is shown there. The budget is 800. The actual is 839,000 versus a budget of 201. Looking again at the variance, there's been a steep increase in the favorable variances from last month, 119%, to this month, 315. So if we should move along those lines up, what has driven this increase in variance? And then we see that from the water capital connection fee, there was a variance increase, a massive variance increase. In terms of the actual revenue, it's 510,000 versus a budget of 15,000. So therefore, there was a variance in dollar value of 494. Now the question is, what might have driven that? Is that during the month of January, Lakefront made their payment of their capital connection charge of water. It was $400 and something thousand. $400 and something $1,000. So the bulk of that is driven by Lakefront capital connection charge for water, driving that variance in terms of the actual realized of 839. And then on the non-operating side, which is generally interest expenses on these loans and bonds, along with depreciation and amortization, our total year-to-date was 1.1 versus a budget of 1.1. So we are basically in line with the budget, and these are steady costs because the depreciation is generally steady and the interest expenses on these bonds are known and they are generally steady month by month. So overall, when we look from the revenue, it is shrinking in terms of the variance, getting in line there. We're down to -1. And during the month, other exceptional was that the water capital connection charge. I will just quickly turn to page 13, I think, which was the balance sheet. Page 13. Previously, we would have given just one, the year-to-date on the balance sheet. Go down. Continue going. Okay, here we are. So previously we have generally just given the year-to-date balance sheet, which should have been the balance sheet as of January 31st. And here we have given the figures. What we have done this time is that we have included the last full fiscal period balance sheet, allowing for a similar comparison at your leisure. And of course, we are able to answer any questions, either by phone call or if any board member would like to visit. So by going down the balance sheet, you'll be able to go through. I won't go necessarily into detail, but generally there's been slight changes as you move along the balance sheet in terms of from the assets and from the liability side. There's been very marginal changes, and therefore, if you look in terms of total assets, we have moved from 108 million to 109.7 million dollars, and we can provide further detail. So in summary, that is the finance report for January. If there are any questions, I'll gladly answer. If none, can we?
Let's have a motion.
A motion to accept this, and then I'll just give a broad overview.
Can I make a motion to accept both the January and December reports, or do we need to have a separate discussion?
the attorney probably could.
Consolidated motion is fine.
Okay.
To accept January and December.
Second. Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Trent to accept January and February.
January and December.
December 25,
Oh,
January 26.
Okay. December 25 and January 26. I have a second by Mr. Hargraves. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay, then, thank you.
Okay, that's fine. We're done with the form. This will all be for informational. We'll drop back and do 28 then. Okay. Go to 28 then.
All right, project updates.
Okay, yes, sir, thank you. So this is for informational purposes only. Again, we have a lot of projects out for bid right now. Southwest Fifth Avenue Sewer Phase 1 is out for bid. Northwest 15 Pump Station Rehabilitation is out for bid. The Pine Ridge Park expansion, it's on 2 streets, is out for bid. But the big one of interest is the Southwest Service Area Project 2. This is the first group of homes that we put out to bid to try to get from plumbing contractors to make the actual connections from the house to the street. It's 16 homes. We'll be getting bids. What we will utilize from there is to try to determine what are those 16 houses, what an approximate cost is per house, and then we can apply, looking at our grant numbers, and what we'll bring back to the board is how do we want to do grant participation with these individual homes. So it's a big step. There's 515 or so homes to connect, and this is the first 17 to be done. We're preparing the bids for the next 2, and we'll be putting that out shortly, so there'll just be a repetitive process of putting projects out to bid and getting it done. So you'll see here, the expected cost of these things. Southwest Fifth Avenue, there is, I didn't bring my sheet here, but it's we have a $5 million grant, so that should more than cover the cost for phase 1. NW15, we have a FDAX grant of $650, as well as LPQ 008 federal money, state money to do. Project 2 is the same way, LPQ 008, or if we were selected for a TMDL grant, but they had no money, it got pulled back by the federal government, and they were clawing back money. So we hope to get that recognition before June 1st that we're going to be eligible for the TMDL grant. $750,000, which will more than pay for this first one. And Pine Ridge Park is either going to be through OUA expense or a grant elimination of septic tanks. So we'll keep that posted, but we've got a lot of projects under bid right now. I'll take any questions if there are any. Okay, so we've done 29. Do you want to go through 30, which is the December report that's already been approved? No. 31 is investment report by staff.
I'll be very brief here and very quick. Again, with the investment report. So each year, staff normally make a presentation to the board as to how we have utilized the funds and where is the funds that the OUA has in its possession are properly kept in what the government required in us in terms of the qualified public depository institutions. And have we met the CPE that is required in terms of the finance officer who is required to do some 8 hours of training. So we generally give a broad overview of these investments. So if we look very quickly, we show the total funding, deposits with OUA over a 3-column period, which is from FY24, FY25, and also December. It has remained, it has moved from 15.0 to 14.7. Not much changes there. Yes, you might figure it's a decline, but there's been marginal movement because funds are going in and coming out. At the right of column 1231, we have RB, which we said that are required by the bond requirement, and an RO are funds that are required by the board. So if we should summarize those restricted funds and unrestricted funds, below we gave those in terms of just classifying between restricted or unrestricted, whether it is by board or by bond. We then followed by showing the interest rates between those same periods, and what we have seen is that as of December 2025, interest rates has been trending downwards. So the trend now is to funds that are restricted. What we will be doing is to move them away from the deposits, regular bank deposit, into some invested funds like treasury notes. So we are presently looking at moving funds into treasury notes, which gives a yield of 3.5 versus the bank deposits, which are now yielding 2.8, 2.9%. So that is in terms of to generate a greater return. We also gave an overview on the expense side, and in terms of the expense side, we have where the actual expenditure, we also gave on the actual expenditure, and then we looked at the interest income in terms of relation to the budget. Last year, we ended above the budget in terms of 482 versus 437, and this year we are trending in terms of the budget, we are trending just marginally above of the interest income. Now again, the report is there, and if there are any questions, we will gladly seek to provide answers. But I would also like to state that all funds were in qualified institutions, and we had to declare this to federal government, and our report is also there to state that. And we did meet the requirement in terms of the 8-hour CPE performance, continuous training that is required of the investment officer for OUA. So in summary, the investment report, we have met requirements, and we are continuing to place funds where we are able to generate an added income in terms of as we seek to look at where the spreads are better, and we're seeing the spreads are better now with treasury notes, and we are now moving out of the bank deposits to treasury notes.
Very good. Thank you. No action required on this.
No action. This is just for information.
32 items from our attorney.
Thank you. Good morning. Just a couple of things, and this is mostly coming from the director. I'm preparing a subordination document, so FDOT needs a portion alongside SR 15, and so there's a document that says we have the rights over it. We let you have the rights for the purposes of you using it for a roadway, and that's in the public interest. So I'm doing that. As to the lakefront estates, there are two different agreements. One of them we've discussed today to some detail, and that has to do with the indemnification and the certification. The other one is the main user agreement about how we're going to do our rates with them. And so that, they just gave us comments back a few days ago. So we're still massaging that. And then and I've got sort of a new assignment, if you will, and that is to see if there's any type of surety or insurance that might cover non-performance by a developer as to grant requirements. I'll figure it out. If it's out there, maybe we can add language to the MOU to that effect if it's something that's possible. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. From you, John?
It's again a very simple report again on the remaining projects. Project phase 2 is very close to getting total substantial completion. We will be moving into final completion where they have to go in and do restoration work like asphalt, sodding, seeding and sodding, paperwork, manuals, that type of deal. Phase 2, State Road 78, is very near completion. They have all the 16 inches tied in and operational. They pulled out the 6-inch piping, so that should be up for final soon, very soon, I would hope. Fifth Avenue is out for bid. Treasure Island, we know that we're purchasing the last of the sites. Taylor Creek Isles Generator, that is moving along slowly. We're in the phase right now where they've ordered the generator, and once it's manufactured, then we can get with the actual installation and moving forward. Clearly, there's other engineering RFPs that we will be going out for shortly. At the treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, both digesters are operational. We just repaired the centrifuge. There is a need to move some digested material out, so we may have to bring in an outside vendor to help us catch up on the processing of that. It's yet to be determined whether that's going to work. So we continue to upgrade where we can. The ozone study is underway at the surface water treatment plant. It's just very busy. A lot going on.
So my only question, John, is the drought, is that going to have any effect on what we can use or our water usage to our customers?
Absolutely. If the drought continues, and we're into the dry season, as we all know, till June, it's only going to get marginally worse. Right now, we're under what they call voluntary restrictions. We've placed notices on the monthly bills asking our customers to voluntarily restrict water use, but we're not in the same situation where it's become mandatory in some other counties. So right now, we're under a voluntary deal, and yes, we're putting notices out on bills. We'll add it to social media, asking our consumers to cut back where possible. If it does become mandatory by the district, water management district, then we'll go into things like odd, even irrigation schedules, things like that we'll try to implement. And we will, when that happens, our employees know which days, odd, even, are getting irrigation. If they drive by and see somebody using it, we'll knock on the doors and tell them that they're in violation. If they don't deal for that, then we have to go involve the county or city, depending on where it's at, to get code enforcement involved. So right now, no real mandatory restrictions. We're under voluntary.
As far as our access to water, we're still good with the canal pump if the lake gets too low to draw.
Yes, we still have that emergency structure there, yes.
Didn't we extend that line out into the lake quite a while back?
Thousands of years ago, there used to be intake structure into the lake, but what we had tried to do was twofold. One, to cut a channel in the muck layer that built up, and that was a no-go. And then because of all the muck that was washed into the government cut in '04 storm season, we were going to dredge that out. And again, we ran into some headwinds from the regulatory types, so nothing was done. Other than we did build after after that drought, we built the structure on the Rim Canal.
We did something.
What is the 6-inch water line that we're removing on 78? Is it steel or?
Cast iron.
It's cast iron. What about the 8?
It will eventually be removed once we have the 16-inch in total. We can remove it.
Right. And that's cast iron also?
Ductile iron.
Ductile iron.
It's in, both of them were actually in, did you see the pipe came out?
I've seen it in other locations.
The pipe that came out, was it pretty clean?
It wasn't bad, for the age, do we even know, do y'all know the age of that? Was it something that?
Yes, old.
Something Leland put in?
I would guess.
Yes, it was the original pipe. So it was cast iron. We were thinking that it would be in bad shape, but it was actually under phase 1. I did not see the stuff that came under phase 2. Was actually quite clean. So that tells me that the velocities in that pipe were always very strong and kept the pipe clean.
Nothing else?
Any item from the 33? Four item from the board? Okay.
Meeting adjourned.
10.